Hello? Hello, friends. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. How are we all today? What button do I press? That's the button I press. Hello. It's just me today. It's just Gary. Hello. Hello, Arzori, MG, Saltikoda, Sirika. Hello. Hello. It's just me today. I'm doing the critique stream. So if you are very new and you don't know what our critique stream is, so every month at the end of the month, we will go through our Patreon / YouTube member people who submit art and writing and comics, and we will give feedback here on stream. So if you are interested in having your work critiqued, and we do like everything, so it can be like sketches, character designs, comic pages, comic scripts, short stories, parts of novels. We can look at it all. If you're interested, you can sign up for our Patreon, or you can become a YouTube member at the critique tier. And if you're looking for something like more personal and like private, because like, you know, we do these on stream, we do offer like one-on-one kind of feedback / coaching, which you can also sign up for via, I think that one's just through Patreon, but I don't know. But yeah, if you're interested in that, that is also available. So today, I'm gonna do the critiques. It's all visual stuff. Usually Bones will be here if there's like writing, but it's just me. Bones is actually asleep. Can we all get some honk shoes in the chat for Bones? I have a feeling he was up late. He keeps being like up super late and then sleeping forever. So I want to make sure he gets his sleep. All right. Honk shoes. Thank you, Chloe. Honk shoe. Thank you, Sarika. Shoes for ducks. Exactly. Goose shoes. Me. Thank you, Cypress. Honk shoes. Thank you, FG and also me. Okay, who would like to go first? So Cypress and Chloe are both here. And then we also have BattleBox and Tori, who I don't know if they are here. So let me know. Who wants to go first? Who wants to be my first victim? Oh. I'm good whenever. Okay. Cypress, would you like to go? I know you're not working, so I don't know if you have a time crunch like usual. I made my coffee late today, so I'm having my first sip of coffee. It's so good. It tastes like yummy. Coffee is a lifesaver. It is. It's so yummy. I always get instant coffee because, like, despite working as a barista for a few years in my early 20s, I'm terrible at making coffee. Is it dark coffee or with milk? With milk. My grandpa would be very upset with me. He used to go, "Coffee is neither a dairy product nor a confectionery." But I like it with milk and sugar. It's good. My coffee is a Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Oh my god. You know what? If you need your caffeine, you need your caffeine. Coffee is icky. That's fair. That's fair. It's not for everyone. I used to, when I was working as a barista, I used to have like 5 or 6 cups of coffee a day. My anxiety was really bad. Now I only have 1 cup a day. And sometimes I think about giving it up because I know, like, it creates, like, caffeine dependency, but, like, it just tastes so good. I just like it. My roommates are concerned with my coffee consumption. No! My coffee is juiced. Love some juice. I used to work at a restaurant. It was a blessing to get free coffee there. Hell yeah. Oh my god. That does remind me. I went to, years ago. I just turned 21. Right, so Bones and I went on a cruise. It was the only cruise we've ever been on. And I just turned 21. I think he was still 20. And it was in America, so, like, I could drink alcohol, but he couldn't. But anyways, on the cruise, they had a coffee shop that was open 24 hours. So it was great. It was also a writing retreat. It was the Writing Excuses retreat. It was on a cruise that year. So we saved up and we were able to go. But anyway, so it was so fun to, like, wake up in the middle of the night and just drink as much coffee as you want, because it was just, like, you know, grab your own from, like, a carafe. Oh, it was so fun. And all the writers were there. And you could have so much coffee. Tea is good too, a nice chai or chamomile. I do love a chai tea. Though I guess that is just saying tea, because chai means tea. But still. Yeah, I like a nice chai. I like green tea a lot. And I'm very fond of, like English breakfast, Earl Grey. Actually, Lady Earl Grey? No, it's just Lady Grey, isn't it? That's a good tea. It's nice and light, but you still get the, like, citrusiness of, like, an Earl Grey. Warm drinks make my tummy angry. That's fair. Lady Grey, yay. That's fair. Bones is like that. Bones always has iced versions of drinks, because he doesn't like hot drinks. I'm a tea person. Hello, Karasu. Alright, I should get started. Chloe, you're going first, because you said something. I can't have caffeine. That is valid. It's not for everyone. Whether it be for health problems or just you don't like how it feels. For medical reasons, that is very valid then. Even if it was just for preference, it would also be valid, but medical reasons is very valid. I drink room temp water and cola. How dare you? Not even iced cola? Listen, I love a cold glass of water. Coffee is good hot or icy. Room temperature coffee, icky. Same with tea. Iced tea, delicious. Hot tea, delicious. Room temperature tea, better than coffee. Water tastes whatever temperature it is. It does. Thank you. All right. Chloe, what did you say about your pieces? Just about to get done in time. Oh, right, because you were working on, like, comic pages. You're like, I'm not going to get them done for the critique. Slightly cold water is delicious. Best flavor of water. True, slightly cold water is pretty good. Madoka, don't do it. You don't have to barky. No. No. Come here, girly. Girly girl. Madoka. Serena, no. Girls. I don't know what they're barking at. They saw something out the window, but they've calmed down. Alright. Okay, so you have 2 character designs and a finished piece of you. For the finished piece, I'm not happy with the lighting and coloring. Oh no! Okay, so for the first two is Dusk and Lucero. And they're from a new BL. Ooh! And by that, I'm sure you don't mean boys love, you mean big ladies. My favorite genre, BL, big ladies. I realized I had 3 hours until submission deadline, so I had to quickly make my new boys. Oh, I've been busy with English composition in college, so I haven't had time to draw. Oh no. Hopefully you're able to get more time soon, though doing your college work is important. Did Bones tell you guys that I might be going back to college? And by back, I mean I never went to college. There's like a government program where since I'm having trouble finding employment, I might be able to get funding to like up my skills. I'm gonna be a college girl. I'm gonna be the oldest person there. Yo, same. Yes, Cypress. We'll be college baddies. It is cool. I hope it works out. I'm applying for the government program, so we'll see. UX girly, yes. Cypress, what are you going for? Thank you. I hope it goes well too. We will see. The other thing, I don't know if Bones told you this, but when I was out job hunting, stop, mortuary. Okay. I was just about to say, I was kind of looking at a program to become a funeral director with embalming. Stop. Okay, because I went to these job fairs and I met a funeral home director who was talking, and I was just chatting with her about like what kind of jobs were open, and she was like, we're always looking for funeral directors. There's so few in Ontario that like they created a program that's like 1 year, like they fast tracked it just so that they can get more like funeral directors because they just need people. And I was like, whoa, oh my god. And I was like, well, you know, this government program covers like a year of schooling. Maybe I could become a funeral director, but I don't think I will. I don't think the government program covers it because it has to be something in my like field that I'm already working on, and I'm in design, so I don't think that extends to the funeral industry. But oh my god, I'm so listen, there seems to be like a pipeline of like artist to like mortuary science. Not all of us interested in the funeral industry. Oh my god, it was so funny. I came home and I was like, Bones, I'm gonna be a funeral director. You design the funerals. Oh my god, you're so right. That's what I should put on my application. The line of work has a lot of interacting with people, but they don't talk a lot, so it's great. There is actually customer service to it if you're working as the director, because you are like speaking with families and like setting up funeral stuff. But you do also, because there's 2 tracks to it, at least at the program I was looking at, where you can either do with embalming, so where you are like preparing the deceased, or you have the non-embalming, so then you're mostly just working on like creating the services and stuff. Design headstones. You could do that. Maybe I'll create like a headstone company. My mom was helping me look at it, and she said, why is restorative art part of... Oh, never mind. Yeah, there is that. There is some there's some creativity. There's some artwork that needs to be done. And I guess it is one of those professions that'll never go away, you know? The other thing I learned, I'm so sorry, Chloe, I should be doing your critique right now. But the other thing I learned while I was out at my networking events, I was speaking to a UX designer who works as like a consultant. That's like the new thing the new job she started. And she was saying that she's been working with a lot of construction companies because they've been kind of like insulated from like the trade war stuff that's going on between like Canada and the US. So I was like, oh, I gotta go look at the construction companies. I guess people always need things built. So there you go. There's my learnings. It was also funny because I went to a job fair that's like our local area. That's where I met the funeral director. And then I went to like a women in tech kind of like networking event. So it was all like ladies and femme presenting people. And it was just networking and you could meet employers. There was like a job coach there. And they did like a little keynote presentation where they had some like talks that some of the people who, just some people were putting on. And they were all like engineering focused, like software engineering. And I was like, oh God, am I like the only designer here? Like, is everyone else just engineers? And I was like, oh no, like panicking a little, like, am I at the wrong place? And then I went and like started networking and talking to like the other people there. And all of us were designers. I think I met one engineer. I was like, okay, all my design girlies are here. It looks like Lucero is wearing eyeliner. We love that. I worked in web design for funeral home websites specifically for a few years. Oh, that's really cool. Dang. Arizona homeowners are at war with builders because the constructions are below minimum standards. Oh no! Oh no! That's not good. Gosh dang it. Constructioners, builders. Meet the standards, would ya? Okay. I should get started on this. Okay, so you have the two characters from your BL. So we have Prince Dusk. He's 6'9". Okay, it's not BL, it's BM, big men. So big ladies. Okay, he's 5'9". That's like typical height. But he tall. Alright, so Reborn Dragon. The Reborn Hero and Dragon battle again. Okay, and then he's Prince Lucero is the Reborn Hero. Cute! I like it. I'm in love with this concept. I love stuff about a dragon who used to be way taller. Okay, fair. You know what? You got me there, Chloe. He has asthma, so he's debuffed. Oh, baby. Listen. Okay, get yourself an inhaler. Was it from breathing all the fire? Okay, so what are the vibes I'm getting? From Dusk, he looks very imposing. Like, if I didn't know he was a dragon, he would be giving me like vampire vibes. Is this... I think just from what they're wearing, it could be a modern setting, but I feel like it's a bit further in the past. Because he's dressed up all in like a suit and like a great coat. And he's got like little suspenders and a dress shirt. So am I right that this is maybe taking place during like the 1900s? Or maybe like early to mid-century? Rather than like modern times? But it could also be modern times and they just dress like dorks. Each kingdom has a different style. Okay, interesting. But it's more modern, right? It's not like medieval or like Renaissance-y. What's the level of technology here? Do we have cars or planes? Or are we still got horses? A mix, I guess. Okay. Okay. That's fair. It is a fantasy story. Where I'm guessing they're reborn from like ancient people, right? Not decided, but they have magic, so okay, gotcha. So it could change things. That's fair. Mako, what's your problem? She's just rolling on the floor going She got the sillies. That's her problem. They were born 100 years later. Oh. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So is this like... Now I'm just asking questions about the story. I'm like, is this a cycle that happens? Dusk is Shadow Kingdom, which is Gothic and Victorian. Oh, gotcha. And then I'm assuming Lucero is from like the Light Kingdom. I want to be in a kingdom where it's like mandatory we all have to be goth. I know Gothic doesn't mean goth, but like, what if we were all goth? Lucero is Light Kingdom, which is cottagecore. Oh my god, that's cute. Okay, I like it. Mandatory, Gothic, Victorian, or cottagecore. Choose your kingdom. I love it. Okay, so yeah, the vibe I get from Dusk, he seems very like serious, imposing. Yeah, I don't know. I guess just like kind of straight-laced. I'm thinking like I'm trying to think of a specific character, but I'm thinking like an anime villain who's always just like got a scheme going. He's always scheming, you know? But yeah, but maybe kind of more on the quiet side, kind of thoughtful, maybe brooding. We love a brooding hero. Or I guess dragon in this case. And then for Lucero, he feels very... He gives me soft boy energy, but he could also be very like peppy. He feels peppy. He feels like... He feels... Yeah. He's a clean freak and he likes everything neat. The lick in his hair annoys him. Oh, poor Dusk. Baby. I like that. That's fun. But yeah, Lucero feels very like happy-go-lucky, energetic, cheerful. Yeah, that's the vibe I get. That's the vibe from them. Now, so he is a prince. I think it's just because he has like the really fluffy hair, but he just feels more like farm boy to me. That might also just be like me bringing in my own assumptions about the story, but he is a prince, so he's probably more refined. That came across mostly them? Nice. Nice. Here, let me read what else you wrote. Dusk is a dragon in a past line, and Lucero is the prophesized hero. Lucero kills Dusk, but then succumbed to his injuries. They now have been reborn as princes from different kingdoms, and will be attending royal camp together. Oh my god. And then they're in love. I like it. Cute. So are they aware? Do they have like memories of the past? Or is this like they've just been told you're the reborn version of this person? Dusk is secretly just a scarier looking softie. Lucero is just hyper. I like that. I was hoping Dusk was a softie. That's kind of a trope I personally love. Yes, they know. Okay. Interesting. I like it. Okay. Do you have any questions about the design stuff? Because I can do just like a general critique. Is Dusk's jewelry okay? Yeah, I really like his jewelry. Damn ad, go away. No, okay. I will wait. I tried to reduce the amount of ads, but... So I apologize. Ad is gone. No, I can hear it. Okay, okay. For the jewelry, I really like it. I like, it really works well with this, like, blue kind of highlight that he has going on, because he's, like, all black and gray, and then there's, like, some silver and blue that comes through. I do like as well, color-wise, how you've, even though he's all kind of, like, different shades of, like, gray and black, like, all his clothing reads as black, with the exception of the blue stuff. You've put enough differentiation into it where, like, I can see there's, like, a black shirt under here, then he's got, like, a black vest over top, and then a black coat, black pants. But there's enough, like, variation where you've got some, like, kind of cooler colors, you've got some warmer colors, using, like, shadows and light to really differentiate the different parts, which can be really hard with a character who's, like, wearing all black. So I think you did a really great job with that. And I really like how the blue and silver kind of, like, brings out, like, the different, like, shades throughout. Yeah, and then for his jewelry, I do like the dragon motif, as well as, like, the moons. Because he's got, like, the cuff of the dragon on his ear. He's got, like, the dragon on the little throat pin. He's got some on his rings, his belt. But there's also some, like, little moons, and yeah, I think it works really well. And I think it kind of helps bring the design together too, where I like how there's these echoes of, like, the dragon shapes, where it's, like, on his hands, his belt, his throat, his earrings. I think there could be some on his lower half, like on his legs, or shoes or something, whether that's, like, stitching in the boots, or maybe using some of the silver as, like, lacing, or, like, you can see, like, the eyelets on the lacing of his boots, just to bring, like, you don't have to bring in the dragon motif necessarily, but just to bring that color into the boots, I think would help a lot. Those kingdoms either worship the moon goddess or sun god. Oh, okay, gotcha. I figured because if he's, like, the Shadow Kingdom, it would be, like, the moon. But yeah, so I think just color-wise, just bringing the silver into his boots would really help, or even into the pants, just to, like, keep that through line on the whole design. But the colors are really strong. There's really great contrast between all the different parts. I do love how, like, gothic he feels. Like, I think the choices for his clothing really work. Where he's got, like, this, like, 3-piece suit. It's, like, a great coat. The jewelry feels very, like, decadent, if that makes sense. Like, very Victorian decadence. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of really great details on him. I do want to add some patterning to his vest and shoes, but couldn't think of what pattern. Gotcha. Yeah, because there's lots of motifs you could go with. You could do something, like, that has to do with, like, the moon. You could do, like, a dragon, or wings, or fire. I think there's a lot you could do, but I think that would be really cool. Like, seeing the pattern on the vest and shoes as well. But yeah. I think there's a lot of directions you could go with that, but I think you just got to play around with what you like. And then what else? I think you could do some more fun stuff with, like, his posture. Now, this is just, like, a design sheet, so, like, it doesn't have to be perfect with, like, showing their personalities, but because he's more like, he's like a clean freak, and he's very neat, like, the way he's standing is just very, like, what's the word? He's kind of, like, stanced up. Which I think could work for his personality, honestly. But I think if you maybe gave him a posture of being more kind of, like, closed off or, like, more elegant, if that makes sense. Like, whether that's, like, placing his feet closer together, crossing his arms. Like, just thinking, like, when you're posing him in the story, just to, like, show off that kind of, like, maybe he distances himself from people. Maybe he's, like, keeps his clothing in close so it doesn't get messy. Or he could present himself as being, like, very big and imposing. So maybe you don't want to do that. But, and again, this is just a design sheet, so I wouldn't worry about it. But just things to consider. I think that's it for Dusk. Do you have any questions about him? Dusk will have good posture. And Lucero will be a shrimp. Yes. Shrimping up. Let's go. Okay, as for Lucero, he comes across as a lot. That's great. Okay, awesome. He comes across as very plain, especially compared to Dusk, but that could be just like an aesthetics difference between like their kingdoms. And I do like it because it does differentiate them a lot as characters. So they have the color differences where he's all like gold and yellows and these like soft browns, whereas like Dusk is all like black and blue and silver. Hello, boyo. Yeah, so visually they're very differentiated. He's also very like, where like Dusk is very like sleek and like very long lines. He's a lot more like squared off. He's got like ruffled bits and little spikies. And not like in an opposing way that like some spiky characters can look. He looks very like open and he looks very like, what's the word? He's got like a very open, honest look to him, if that makes sense. So yeah, great color differentiation, great shape differentiation. Again, I like the little bits of gold, and I like that they're not like, they're not present everywhere. He's friendly with everyone that isn't Dusk. Oh, poor Dusk. So I like the gold in his eyes, and then he's got these like buttons and the belt and stuff that has the gold in it. Again, I'd like to see it in the lower half of the character, whether it's like details on the boots, or maybe some stitching or embroidery or a button or something on his pants, just to bring that gold kind of like circle through line. And I like how it is gold circles because it does like feel like it's the sun motif. But there is great contrast between all of your colors, while still being very like harmonious. And I do like how his fluffy hair does create that kind of like idea of like a sunburst as well. I'm wondering if you could bring that fluffiness to other parts, because he's very like square in the rest of his shape, because he's got like kind of rectangular squared off pant legs. He's got like a very square silhouette to his shirt. He's got like the suspenders create kind of like square shapes inside of his design, whereas like the only place you really see like the fluff of his hair reflected is in like the pointy collar of his shirt. I'm wondering if there's more places you could bring that starburst kind of like vibe into it. He's never seen a brush in his life. Aw, bless. In his lives, oh no, he was always coffee. But yeah, I think just bringing in the kind of like pointy fluffiness elsewhere would be helpful. Trying to think. Yeah, it could be done through like patterns or embroidery, or because I know you probably don't want to go crazy with like give him Uggs. Got it. Yes. Thank you. Because you don't want to make him too ornate. Because he seems like he's more plain. As compared to like the style of like Dusk. Yeah, I'm wondering if you could do it like maybe rolling up the cuffs of his pants and then giving them like a bit of like a triangular shape, if that makes sense. I think there's ways you could bring it in, but I think he just needs that kind of like fluffy spikiness elsewhere in the like the torso and legs of his design. Yep, and then I think just bringing the gold into the lower half of the design as well. I think that's it. Other than that, he feels very cohesive. Did you have any questions for him? Nope. Okay. Right, and then you have these two. Here. So if I remember correctly, what are their names? This was a joke about like, because we have Homer and Hugh. Right, I think it's like Homer Sapien and Hugh Man. Is that correct if I'm remembering? Yeah, Homer Sapien and Hugh Man. Gotcha. Okay. For the finished piece, I'm not happy with the lighting or the coloring. Oh no. They are peak names. Right, and they're in love, I think. Okay. So what about the lighting and coloring are you not happy with? I have no idea. Oh no, it's just not speaking to you. I think there might be an issue with like light source. It doesn't look right. Okay. I think it might be a light source issue. So you do have, so through this gradient that you have in the background, and through some of the light you've drawn in, it is implied that there's kind of this like very warm light shining in from behind them, mostly coming in from like the lower right side. I know the anatomy is off, but I can see that easily. Gotcha. Okay. But it feels like the light is coming in from the lower right side, because you can see this like warm cast on like Homer's arm. You can see it on Hugh's back, and you can see it kind of coming in from this side as well. Or you can see it on Hugh's arm, as well as on Homer's arm and like the back of his jeans or pants or whatever. And you can even see some light coming in from like back here. There's a little bit of gold cast on Hugh's head from this side. Yeah, so there's this very strong light source coming in from like from behind them from like the lower part. The light was supposed to be more top left. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because there are parts of it where you can see it hitting from the top left, where like the back of Homer's head is like very well lit. You can see it cast here on Hugh's, the top of his head. And you can see it cast on like the tops of their shoulders, but then you also have the light coming in from like the direct back of them. But not too high. Got it. Yeah, I can see it. Hi, Bones.
Her face is so good.
Yeah. Bones is awake. Yeah, she looks pretty normal, doesn't she? Matica, our dog who has been sick, her face is looking good.
Her teeth are like the same size.
Her cheeks are the same size. Exactly. She's healing. She's healing up.
I know you're not videoing.
No.
Oh, okay. Now you're from my.
All the dogs have come to harass Bones because he is awake.
Now you're recording the video for a bit. They didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh no, I'm streaming. It's Critique stream. Yay, Mado. Oh, we're happy for Mado. She's been doing good. She's been crying less because when we first started giving her antibiotics, she'd be whining at night because I think it was like when she'd be feeling it and her face would be sore, but she's been a lot more back to normal. So I think it's less sore. Right, so the lighting. So yeah, so I think there's some... Yeah, I think the lighting source is a little confused. Where I think... But the thing is, like, I don't think the lighting is wrong. Because I think if you had just some, like, ambient light, like, let's say they're outside... They're like, the sun is kind of setting, it's those like golden hours, you would still have some light coming in from like the top of their heads, and you'd still get like the strong light coming in from behind them. But I think you'd get like a stronger vibe, if that makes sense, like a stronger piece if the light was a bit more decided, or if like you were more intentionally having like, there's some ambient light from the top, but you're getting this like strong sunset lighting from behind them. Or if you chose like, I want a really strong light from up top, like not fully above them, but like from the left upper side. Instead of this middle ground that you kind of have going on. Yeah, I don't know where they are. That is helpful to like decide, like, even if it's not like you're not physically drawing out, like this is a scene where it's like the nighttime and the moon's high in the sky, or like they're in a bright void. Exactly. Like you can draw them in a bright void, but you're like, it's kind of sunset. The lighting is kind of golden and hazy, or you're like, they're at the beach and like the sun is high and bright. You know, like it helps to just like, even if you're not physically drawing that scene, to have that in mind is very helpful. Yeah, and I think it would strengthen up where you're putting the shadows, because you have a good sense of like shaping things with shadows, where you're showing off like the shape of Homer's muscles, or like the parts of the hair, or like the parts of his fingers and hands, you know, as well as like the folds in clothing, etc., etc. But I think just because the lighting is kind of confused, it makes some of the choices where you're putting the shadows a little muddy, where it could be stronger if you know where your light source is coming in from, where you could have, if it's coming from like the upper left, you could have stronger shadows kind of like down the sides of like their faces, and you can have more shadow being cast from Homer because he's like taller onto Hugh. A bright void with aesthetic, exactly. They're probably looking in a bathroom mirror. I do kind of like the shading on some of the fingers. Yeah, like I really like how you've done the sectioning of like the different parts of his fingers. Like I like how you've got a stronger shadow kind of where the knuckle is, and it gradients out a little bit to show like the bottom section of the finger. I also really like right here with like right at the wrist, where you can see where the hand is like overlapping, but you still get the feel of like the cylindricalness of the arm, if that makes sense. Just where you've put the shadows looks really nice. What else? I think for the color choice, I like how you've brought the pink in through different parts, because you have this like gradient of pink up here, And then you've brought the pink into like their skin tones. You've added some like pinky red to the shadows as well. Where it feels like where the light is hitting directly, you've got this like golden kind of vibe, and then like it gets more like kind of rosy pink to where the shadows are darkened, which I think works really well because it brings the colors together. And I think you've got good contrast, because it's the same with like your character designs, where you've got good contrast between like the different pieces of the characters, where like even though Homer's skin like reads as like a darker color because he's got like a tan skin, I like the use of like the white tank top because it helps Hugh stand out, because he's got a darker color palette where he's got like the dark hair, the dark green shirt, and because he would all be in shadow based on where like the lighting you had planned. So having just this like white bit, this lighter color in the middle, helps kind of make Hugh stand out. So you've got a really good sense of like where your contrast should be, and like having different pieces be contrasted. I'd be careful with the color of Hugh's shirt, just because it is green and you're using red and pink for the shadows. It makes it look kind of muddy. You might need to like shift the color over to like maybe a bit more of like a yellowy green, if that makes sense. Just so like it doesn't become muddy the way it does. And then I think it would help the gold shine on it, where you can still tell that it's like green, but it maybe fits the color palette a little easier. Was there any other stuff about the color that you weren't sure about? Because I think your color choices are there. I think it's just an issue of like the lighting needs to be a bit more defined. That's great. Thank you. No problem. Well, thank you for submitting. Cypress, would you like to go next? Let me see what you wrote. Okay, I've got an updated design and 2 whips from this month. First is the Big Barb Lady. We love the Big Barb Lady. I got to finish her design and coloring her. So you want thoughts? Second 2 are characters from the same D&D campaign. For both of them, I'd like general vibe checks, as well as thoughts about their designs. Okay. Gotcha. So we've got Darius. Yes. I remember just... Wait, does she have a Gatling gun in her mouth? That's so intense. That's so intense. I see pew pew. Maybe. Just maybe. Okay, right. So I remember from your last the last time you submitted this character, they're kind of like robotic, like in nature. So I like what you've done with like the sectioning of the limbs, where you've got, it almost looks like a wood pattern in between like these like plates that are on top. And then you've got some places with like feathers. You've got some like plates of the leg section, the feet pieces, I mean, little sections of like on each section of the fingers. She's inspired on a fantasy race from a story I like called Guardians. Ooh. Gotcha. She's so cool. Yeah, but I like the sectioning you did. I think it helps bring a lot of detail and intricacy to like the character. And it works really well with like the patterns of the feathers. And it creates some nice like contrast between like the different pieces of the body as well, where you've got these kind of like darker browns on like the hands or the talons, I guess, and then on like the torso, some of the arm pieces. You've got it on like parts of the wings, kind of nearer the face with these like 2 wing pieces. And then you've got this like lighter gold that's throughout the design, and then these like more white and speckled pieces. That's so cool. Yeah, I think it helps contrast wise for the whole character. They have a wooden living body and a crystalline core. Oh, that's cool. Legend of the Guardians? I don't know if I've heard of that. Truth be told. Let me see. The fluffy spots are leaves from the tree she's built from. Silver branches have pretty golden leaves. Oh, cool. Wait, so it's not feathers. It's leaves. It's an owl movie. I don't remember what happened. Just that it was fun. Very good. Oh. So it's not feathers, it's leaves. Is that what I'm hearing? That's cool. I like it. Okay, and then she's got like silver birch wood. Cool. That's really cool. I like that a lot. Tree feathers, yes. Exactly. Right, and then she's got a mask, and then this terrifying freaking beak with like saws and a pew pew. What the heck? And then she's this cute little I like it, I like it. The armor is metal, but the rest of her is birch parts. Okay. I was wondering. But that's so cool. I like her. I like her a lot. Yeah, I think there's really good contrast between all the pieces. The only thing I'm noticing is this piece on like her rib cage, I guess, like the lower torso. It's like the darkest, it's the largest, darkest color. And I know the color presents elsewhere because it's like mimicked in like the spotting for like the silver birch skin. You've got it on the nails. And it's also in the eyes. But I think just because it's such a large, dark section, and it's the only kind of like large, dark section like that, it stands out a lot. If I were you, I'd either bring this color into other large sections. So like, for example, you could color like the armor on the lower, on the shins here. You could color those dark, and maybe like a piece on the arms or something to kind of like bring that color in such a large amount throughout the design. Or it needs to be like taken out or like stripped back, where maybe it's like the gold, but maybe it has some like black pieces on it so that it's not, you can still have that like dark brown / black that matches like the nails and the eyes and stuff, but it's not as present as it is now. Yeah, that's the only thing that's standing out, because otherwise, like color wise, it's very cohesive. Bones scared the dog. Bones is on a recliner and rocked or adjusted, and the dogs were like, oh. Alrighty. Yeah. Did you have any other questions about Doris's design? She's very cool. Nope, hers was simple. Gotcha, gotcha. All right, so we have Estrella and Seo. All right, what did you write? Okay, so these are characters from the same D&D campaign as Doris. Okay, so same as the Goddess of Fate. They're a married couple. Oh, a dragon priest / town guard and their doctor wife. Adorable. Estrella uses they, them, and Seo uses she, her. Gotcha, gotcha. For both of them, I'd like general vibe checks as well as thoughts about their designs, as they're still works in progress technically. Also, any colors you think would work with them. Since I haven't gotten that yet, I only know I'd like to use green for both of them. And you have some descriptions of them, so we'll skip that so I can do the vibe check. And Estrella is based on Quetzalcoatl, feathered serpent, in case you aren't familiar. And Seo is a homebrew Genasi race. So instead of being an Earth Genasi, she is a Vitality Genasi. And she embodies life essence. And the flowers in her hair are Lily of the Valley. Okay, cool. I don't know what Genasi is. I'm sorry. Have the designs you're reviewing already been chosen? They have. So if you would like to have your stuff looked at next month, we do this monthly. You can sign up as a YouTube member or join our Patreon and get all the info, and then you can submit your own designs. Yeah. They're basically Avatar less Airbender people? Okay, so it's like elemental magic people. Okay, Estrella is really cool. I like them. They're neat. And Seo is cute. I like her. I like this. She's cute. Oh, that was cute too. Baby. Okay. Okay, so I'll do a vibe check. So Estrella feels very... Wait. Stop. So cute. Okay, so Estrella feels very... The vibe I get is Estrella is very serious. Okay, I'm kind of getting like himbo vibes. Does that make sense? Like they're very serious and strong and tough and angry and protective of people when they're in trouble. Like I don't think they're like naturally very angry, but like when people are in trouble, they're like, "Oh, I will fight." No, absolutely yes. Okay, where they seem kind of like maybe they're not the smartest all the time, but they have a good heart, you know? They're trying. That's the vibe I get. Yes. And they're so cool. I like them a lot. Yeah, I can get the Quetzalcoatl aesthetic. There's some like I can't remember what. I know Quetzalcoatl is like a South American like creature / god, but I can't remember if it's like Aztec or Aztec. Okay, I thought so, but I was like, I don't want to get that wrong. Okay, so I can get kind of like the Aztec inspired like motifs on the armor, which is very cool. Ooh, and they've got some casual outfits. Very cool. Oh, I like the little headpiece. Oh, and the little earrings hanging off the horn. That's cute. Nice. Okay, so I think, yeah, with the motifs of the clothing, it really comes through. The kind of like Aztec inspiration. The one on the left is their priest outfit. Gotcha. Gotcha. Right, I forgot they're a priest as well as a guard. Okay, oh right, and then I'll do a vibe check for Seo. Okay, Seo feels very... She's the brains of the operation. She seems very... She seems organized, maybe a little type A. But yeah, very like on top of things, logistical, practical. And she seems like sometimes she can be very like silly and cute. Like that way, so cute. Right. And she's a doctor? Am I remembering that right? Yeah, she's the doctor. So that makes sense that she'd be on top of things if she's got to look after people. But right. Oh, is she cute? She's got her nice outfit. And her more fancy dressed up outfit. I like her. She's very cute. She's the brains until romance becomes a factor. Her brain stops working. Aw, that's cute. I like that. She just loves her spouse so much. You know how there's like wife guys? She's like a spouse guy. Loves her spouse. Gotcha. Okay, so Estrella is a priest for a dragon, and their duties include protecting their town with magic weapons bestowed upon them when they took the role. They're also a necromancer. Ooh. And help the dead cross between planes. Seo, on the contrary, works primarily with the living. She's the town's doctor and has to remind Estrella not to do anything reckless that will land them in her clinic. Aw. One thing I'd like to hear about Seo is how you think I can or should edit her to make her look younger. I think it's necessary, or if you think it's necessary. I wanted her to look tired, but it's aged her. Got it. I want her to look maybe late 20s, early 30s. Okay. Gotcha. So she did read as like kind of 20s, 30s to me. She doesn't look like young. She doesn't look like, you know, late teenager or like young 20s. She does look that kind of like, you know, not middle age, because that's more like 40s, 50s, but like, you know, older, more mature adult, but not like old. I think she does still look pretty youthful, but like mature enough to not be like a little baby 20s, if that makes sense. And I think part of what makes her feel that way is her clothing is very, it is more like professional. It's very like professional, mature, but it's not like old biddy, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like, it still feels very like fresh, you know? Yeah, and I do get the vibe that she looks like kind of more tired and serious, just from like, yeah, she's got kind of like a more somber look to her features, and I think it comes from like her brows are very like kind of like straight, if that makes sense. Like they're not, because you know when you have a character who's like really intense or like fiery, they have kind of like the inky brows where they're tilted like down towards the nose, or you have the character who's like more kind of like soft and they're like tilted up away from the nose. Does that make sense? And then she has these more kind of like down tilted eyes that feel very gentle. Yeah. So I think I get the age range you're going for. And Estrella's harder to like put an age on, just because they're like not a human, where it's like easy with human characters. Her eyes were part of it for me. Gotcha. Yeah, because I think if you added like more kind of lines, like crow's feet, or like some lines around her mouth, that would probably age her up quite a bit. But I think the way you have it, she does just look like more kind of like that kind of like gentle, serious character. Yeah, I agree. I don't think she looks too young, and I don't think she looks too old, personally. I love them. They're cute. Right. So you were looking for thoughts about their designs and colors that would work. I know I'll likely use green for both of them. Gotcha. That would make sense, because if Sayo has like these lily of the valley flowers in her hair, I could see her having like a very dark green hair within the little white flowers like popping off, the way like a lily of the valley looks. I also imagine her with kind of like dark brown skin. I think part of that is just because she has like the very curled hair, where she feels like a black character to me. And then I think the green and the brown would look very nice together. That's just a personal preference. Obviously, if you had other ideas, go with it. Yeah, so that's kind of the colors I imagine for Sayo. And then for Estrella, for like the scales for them, I think there's a lot of ways you could go with it. You could use like a very turquoisey teal for the scales. Like the kind of what I picture is like greens and yellows and like turquoisey blues throughout. I think there's some cool contrasty stuff you could do with it. Like whether that's like the more kind of like feathery fur parts, whether they're like, I don't know, I'm picturing them as like yellow or like a limey green, and then like a more kind of like darker blue green for the scales, but there's so many different ways you could go with it. I was thinking of making her skin darker too. Yeah, fair. But you could go any way with it, like. And I think it's, and I know that is an issue where you're like, what colors do you think? And I'm like, you could do anything, which is an annoying answer. But yeah, but I think if you're going to use green, you can either go very like harmonious and pick some like blues and yellows, because that's like on either side of green on the color wheel. And if you want some contrasty stuff, I would grab some like either some reds and oranges, like the reddy orangey colors, because that would contrast really well with the green. And if you wanted to have like a softer feel, you could go with maybe like a more rosy pink instead of the red as like a contrast color. And that could work for either of them. You know, if you wanted Estrella to feel a bit more like fiery, or a bit more tough and imposing, like using that kind of like brighter fiery red would really contrast well if green is the main color. And then with Sayo, if you want to go with like a more kind of subdued color palette, you could maybe use some like pinkish colors, or like maybe some creams or rosy browns or something for like clothing and accessories. I think those would contrast really well with like greens and blues. I have no clue, so hearing any opinions would be cool. I think I also, I think red and yellowy colors would work really well, because I guess this is kind of like a stereotypical assumption, but I do see like a lot of gold associated with like Aztec imagery. So like there's a lot of like gold that you could bring into the armor and outfit, and then kind of build off there as well using gold and green because they work really well together. Did you have any other questions for these two? The gold and red was very common with things I saw when I was looking at references. Yeah, that's usually what I assume. Like that, I think that's the same imagery I've seen with like Aztec inspired. But then again, I'm not super familiar with it, so I could be wrong. Last thing is just the opinion on the line art. It's a new oh my god. I can't read. A new CSP brush, not a crisp brush. I found, and I was just testing it. I like the line art a lot. I like the like line variation that you've got going on, where you've got these kind of like thicker lines where the shadows are, and then it gets a little lighter at the top. That's just a personal preference of mine. I just find that really cool. It looks nice. It is very crispy. We love a crispy brush. But yeah, but I do really like your use of like the thicker lines to imply shadows, like here on this like part of the skirt, kilt, what would you call it? the lower part of the outfit, where you've got like thinner lines, and then you've got this like really dark line to imply like a shadow on this piece, and then same with here. I think that just looks really, really nice. I love some line variation. And then same here, I really like using it for like shadow, using it on like her lashes and brows to make them look really like thick and luscious. Yeah, and then using the shadows for like you know, highlighting the underside of the arms, pieces of clothing, under the chin. It works nicely. I like it. It's a skirt. Okay. I was like, oh. Because I was like, it's a skirt, but then I was like, what if it's shorts? So, there you go. Yeah. I also like how you're using these shadows for like these more like emotional portraits that you're doing, with like the crying for Seo, and then like Dangy for Estella. He's cool. Thanks so much for your thoughts. No problem. Thank you for submitting. All right. We also have Tori's work or BattleBoxCat. If either of you are here, let me know. Otherwise, I might start with BattleBox. Look at this fella. Sorry. Very, very cool of me. Okay. So BattleBox, my friend. Alright, so BattleBox, I know you submitted for last month, and then I messed up and couldn't access your file and didn't tell you in time. And then I offered to send you a little DM with critique, but I think, and then I messed up and I didn't message you, so I'm really sorry about that. But I think what you submitted here is the same pages that you submitted last month, and you can message me if I'm incorrect, and I'm happy to like give you that critique I owe you from last month. because I said I would do it. But I think you said that this is like the colored version of what you submitted last time. So I can just go over this on the stream. But let me know if there's other stuff that you submitted last month that I failed to look at. All right. So this is the 4 and only pages for a mini comic I made explaining an incident that happened between my and my friends' D&D characters, Lynn and Renfei. I wanted to capture the emotions between them and give a bit of inside information to my party members, as this is from Renfei's, my character's perspective. I mainly wanted to know if you understood what's happening and what emotion it evokes. Paneling and pacing, anatomy, artwork, wording, expressions. I'm particularly wondering if it makes sense, if you understand what happened. And also I suck at dialogue. I don't think you suck at dialogue. I've been thinking of rewriting some of the scenes a little. And I went for a sketchy manga style, and I've been coloring it since last critique. Okay. So, I don't think your dialogue is bad. I think your dialogue is fine. And I think, let me describe what I think happened so that, like, if I'm wrong, maybe you can correct things. But what I think happens, so Renfei, who is our redheaded protagonist, who's your character, she's on this pirate ship, and it's been attacked, or it's been set alight by this captain. He's not a captain, but this pirate guy. And he gets away. He, like, swings away. She's like, oh no, I can't let him escape. And so she goes to chase him. She then gets stopped by her captain, who's this orc lady, I think? Yes. So this orc lady stops her, and she's the captain, and she's like, you're letting him... Okay, Captain Pete. Okay, so he is a captain. But anyway, so he got away, and she's like, no, I was about to chase him. And she's like, what? You didn't kill him? Blah, blah, blah. You let him get away. And then, as punishment, the orc captain makes her shoot her friend, who is her crewmate, who she cares about a lot. Yeah, so she makes her shoot her as punishment for failing to kill Captain Pete. And then we get a little flashback of Renfei and Lynn being cuties, being in web, and showing how much they care for each other and how awful it is that she gets shot. And then Lynn falls off the boat as she's been attacked. And Renfei kills the orc captain as revenge. I was like, why did you give her the gun when she can shoot you? But anyway, so she shoots the captain. I don't know if she kills the orc captain, but she shoots her, and then she jumps in the water, and that's where it ends. And it's like, hopefully she was able to save her friend, but I don't know. So that's what I think happened. So you can tell me whether or not I got it. Okay, so that is what happened, I think. Because that can be helpful when you have like a scene or a story and you're worried about it being confusing. You can have someone read it and then they tell you what they think happened. I do that for Bones all the time when I'm like alpha reading. Where Bones is like, what happened in the scene? Summarize it for me. And then if I'm confused about something, it means like, I mean, sometimes it's like I misread something, but sometimes it means Bones wrote something not clearly enough and needs to make a change. So that's a good thing. It's like when you show someone like a character design and you're like, what kind of character do you think they are? Give me a vibe check. That's helpful because then you can know if you communicated their personality through their design. Okay, paneling, pacing, anatomy, artwork, wording, expressions. Does it all make sense? So I think it all made sense. I think there was a good flow to the story where like obviously, like, I'm missing some information coming into the scene. Like, I have no idea who this Captain PD guy is. I have a feeling he caused this fire on the ship. He's an enemy of this crew, but I don't know what happened. So that's parts missing, which is fine for just, like, a single scene. But I have a good understanding of the characters and relationships, even just within this scene, where it's like, I can tell that Renfei and the orc captain are in this, like, abusive relationship, where I think the captain even says, like, I raised you, and this is how you repay me, by letting this enemy get away. And then she really, like, asserts her power over Renfei by making her shoot her friend / girlfriend. I keep saying friend. I'm like, I'm like straight washing them. I'm like, they're just friends, even though they, like, literally kiss. Yeah, so I think emotionally I understand what's happening. I think through, like, the dialogue, through the action, it was very clear the different relationships between the characters and very clear the emotions that are felt. I think you have a really great way of showing these strong emotions, because I know with, like, previous comics you've submitted, like, you're very good at these, like, intense moments of emotion, and I think you show them really well through your visuals. Because, like, I love the moment after she shoots. There's also, like, you do a lot of great work building the tension, where it's not just 2 panels. Because it's like, we have the panel where the captain makes her take the gun. We see it held in her hands. There's this moment of, like, because we don't know what the captain's asking yet, but we're like, oh no. Because when I saw it, I was like, oh gosh, is she gonna make her, like, shoot her own self? But I was like, uh-oh, this is bad. And then you have her being confused, and then we see, like, the captain, like, lining up the shot for her, but, like, putting the gun in her hands to make her do the thing, and she's confused. She's like, why? She knows something bad is happening. We see the start of the shot being lined up, but we don't know what it's looking at. And then we see this person, and, like, up until we've seen this person in the scene, we don't know who this is, but from Renfei's reaction, we're like, oh no, who is this? And then we get, like, a closer shot at, like, who this is. We see, like, the threat that the captain's giving, and she's like, no, please don't make me do it. And then stop. And then we hear the bang, but we don't see what happens yet. It's very good building of tension, where we know the bad things are happening. We understand some of the implications, like, clearly. I mean, it could just be she's like, I don't want to hurt someone, but clearly it's like, this is someone she cares about. And then we get the context of, like, they're girlfriends. They like each other. They smooching. And then we see the aftermath. And I do like the parallel where you see her, like, being all blushy and cute, and then her being harmed. And then, yeah, I think you just do a really good job of, like, setting up tension and showing the intense emotion. And I really like, what I originally was scrolling down to find is this little bit where we see, like, visually through the way you've illustrated these panels, from, like, the color choices to the framing of some of these panels to, like, the kind of outside dressing. So, like, the effects you've used behind, like, the captions and speech bubbles. The way you've made some of these panels more abstract. So we see, instead of seeing her standing on the ship, we see this, like, this, like, fiery background with lightning going through, and we see this, like, white field instead of the ship, and we see this, like, black shadow that's being cast, where it really just, like, shows the emotion that's going on in the characters, where Renfei has even, like, become a silhouette where we just see her eyes, where it's like you can feel just this, like, despair that's come over her because she's just, like, harmed her girlfriend, and like the red and the black here where she's shouting her name and stuff. Yeah, it's just very intense. And even if it's not, you know, clearly this is like abstract imagery. That's like, this is not literally the way things are visually appearing in the scene, but it just shows the emotion of our main character really, really well. So yeah, I like it. I do really like the framing of this part where Lynn falls in the water. With a vertical scrolling comic, you can do cool things like this where you can kind of, by scrolling down, because you see her fall, and we scroll down into the water, it kind of makes the reader follow what's happening, if that makes sense. How do I phrase that? It like, the scrolling is like the motion of Lynn falling, if that makes sense. So that's a really cool trick that I like in vertical scrolling comics that you can do. Yeah, so where was I going with this? But yeah, but you show the emotion really, really well through like the way you frame things, through like abstract imagery, through your color choices. I think you show like the intensity of what's happening really, really well. Another bit that I really liked the art and intensity of was it's at the start where she's running and she's like, she has to go capture this other captain guy who's left. And we see her running towards this like bit of flames, and you see her like pushing through it, and like it even gets so intense where you can like feel the heat just from like the colors and the line work. And then you see her get to the other side and she gets stopped by the other captain. But yeah, just really cool use of color and line work. I think you show one of the strongest parts of your comics, I think, is like showing the emotion and the intensity of emotion as well. And I think you have a good understanding of like when to make it intense and when to not, because when they're just like cuddling and being cute girlfriends, like it's very serene. Just the colors are very serene. Everything's like very gentle and like framed in like not static, but like a very calm way. And we're very focused because like this is a very like intimate moment between the two characters. We're really focused on their expressions. There isn't like much action happening, so you don't need to like throw your camera around. It's just back and forth. They're talking about their emotions and reacting to each other and stuff. So I think, yeah, you know when to show intense emotion, you know when to pull back and make it feel very like gentle. I think for like paneling and pacing, the only thing I'm missing, because I find like understanding the action of what happened with like her attacking Lynn, her fight with the orc captain, understanding her trying to like chase after Captain Pete. I think the action and like the setting is very clear. Like I can tell they're looking across the ship at Lynn. I can tell where they're standing. I can tell where Lynn is standing. I know the setting they're in. They're on like a burning pirate ship. The only thing that's missing is just the beginning where I'm like, I don't know how he got here. I don't know where Pete is going. He just swings off the ship. Or I'm like, is there another ship he's going to? That's the only bit of like pacing and paneling I'm confused about, but that's not necessary for this scene. And I know this is like a single scene kind of thing. But if this was a larger story, I just would want more visual information on that. Like, where the heck is Pete going? How did they get here? Kind of thing. I don't know. But that's the only thing. Anatomy and artwork. There wasn't anything that really stood out. I think you do a very good job with your characters like posing and anatomy. Everything feels very like proportional, structured. Characters feel very like in place, I guess, in the setting. Like they feel like they fit within the setting. You do a good job of like placing characters on surfaces, if that makes sense. Like they feel integrated with the background. It's not just characters floating on top of a background, if that makes sense. And I think all your paneling choices make sense, because there's lots of spots where, like, you know, we're looking at very emotional scenes, so we're getting lots of, like, close-ups and stuff on faces, but you still have more pulled-out shots. So, like, when Lynn is falling, or when Renfei first bumps into the orc captain, and we can see, like, the ship around them to understand, like, where they are, and then we get close-ups of their face as we go into the more emotional bits. So I think you have a good mix of like close-up shots, pulled out shots, establishing shots. I do really like at the start of the comic where we see like the establishing shots of like the ship on fire. Like that's it, you do a good job with like establishing your setting, as well as your character blocking. I like your use of like, you have lots of smaller panels kind of in between big emotional moments. I think that just helps with like setting up, like, it makes it feel more frenetic. It makes it feel like there's action happening. So yeah, I like how you do that. And I can't think of any instances where I'm like, oh, the anatomy looks weird, or I can't understand what's happening. So I think you've got a good handle on it all. Yeah, I can't think of much else. I think this is a really impressive short comic. But yeah, I really like the line work. I like the sketchy manga style. Again, it's very like full of motion. It's very frenetic. Yeah, and it works really well with your color work as well. So BattleBox, please let me know if you have any questions, and let me know if you, yeah, let me know if there was something in last month's submission that I haven't looked at, and I can look at it. I promise I will this time. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them. And thank you for submitting. All right, and now we'll look at Tori's stuff. Tori, if you are here, make your presence known. If not, please ask me questions on Discord and I will answer them. Okay, so you even say in your comment I won't be able to join the stream. Okay, that's fine. These are a few D&D characters. I'd love general advice on the sketches before I color them, composition, poses, whatever. And once again, my thoughts on the anthroanatomy. In the one with animal characters. And for the colored illustration, I adjusted it to CMYK. It's RGB, so it shows up better over Discord. Yep, got it. But it's exported from a CMYK file. Okay. Because my friend who plays the Minotaur wants to get a print. Oh, that's so nice. So let me know if there's anything I should change about the color palette for print. Gotcha. I had to desaturate it a lot to get it to look okay and still printable. Yeah, because it looks like there's a lot of purple, and purple print's pretty dull in CMYK. So yeah, so I can see where it can look really vibrant and nice in RGB. It can come out kind of dull and dark in CMYK. So I get what you're saying. The background was way deeper purple originally. Yep. Any feedback would be appreciated. Okay, awesome. I feel you. As someone who loves putting purple in everything, when I have to print, I'm like, it's not as pretty. It turns out I woke up on time. Hi, Tori. You're here. But yeah, purple in printing. Ugh. That's why we gotta get into PMS printing, where you can choose like the Pantone and you can get some really nice inks, but it's expensive. It can be hard to print that way. As CMYK is different. All right. So you're looking at getting the sketches critiqued before you color them. Oh, they're so cute. Okay, so we've got our Minotaur. We've got our Lizard Gal. Oh, and they're doing some little stargazing, it looks like. Pantone's my beloved. Yes. He's so fun. Let me think. So I think perspective-wise, things look really nice. We've got a nice like above shot looking down at them, where everything feels aligned really nicely. Everything is like set on the floor really nicely, if that makes sense. Like they're placed very well. Everything feels like there's gravity to it. Hum. Let me think. I just like how close they are. It's really cute. I like how she's like tucked up into his like the little crook of his shoulder. Even if they're not being like super cuddly, I think it's just nice. Oh, and I love her little cross feet. So cute. But yeah, it looks like they're having a very like touching little heart to heart while they look up at the stars. I think the only perspective issue I'm seeing is her... I guess it's her right shoulder, but the shoulder on the left here. Where... it feels a little close. So I like where her head and neck are placed, because it feels like she's like leaning... kind of like leaning back on her hands a little bit, and her shoulders are like up, like pushed up a little bit. They're having a heart to heart. She shared her tragic backstory, TM. Oh, baby. But yeah, it feels like there's more space on the right shoulder compared to the left shoulder, which feels a little bit more like squished in towards her collarbone. So I think you just need to move it over like a skosh, just like a tiny little bit. I think that's the only issue I'm really seeing. Yeah, because his shoulders look pretty symmetrical, even if there's like a little bit of like a tilt of the camera. And I like the overlap of like his arms where he's clasped them. I think the animal anatomy stuff looks really great. Like the hoofs look really great. Her like her little reptile hands and feet look so good. Yeah, but I think otherwise things are looking really nice. I like your use of texture to like differentiate the different, like the ground compared to the little objects and stuff. Yeah. Do you have any other questions for this one? of her little feet. I do also like the detailing you've added to, like, I really like inside the quiver here, where you can see the arrows sticking out. And just, like, the little bit of, like, hatching you've put in there really helps, like, make them stand out and make it feel more, like, volumetric. And then same with, like, the backpacks and stuff back here. Even just, like, some little lines really help make them feel more, shapely. Not really, just wondering if you'd see. So that's great. Awesome. And then the next one. Oh, the babies. I think you've shared these characters before, right? Or your other D&D characters? I feel like I leave the edges of the composition a little empty so for cropping, but I kind of want to clutter the edges more with something for both sketches. Oh, gotcha. That is true. You could create some, like, visual interest by having, like... I think it depends on what the setting is, because if they're sitting on, like, kind of a grassy field, it does kind of look like they're on sand, actually. Just because of the texture. But you could bring in, like, either some rock formations kind of at the sides. I've done 1,000,000 arts for both these ships. Hell yeah. That is why we become artists, to draw our ships. I've definitely set 1 or 2 for quick before. Yeah. But you could do, so this is something I go to as, like, my way to, like, fill in edges and stuff and foregrounds, is you could put in either, like, some vegetation. So, like, if this is, like, a grassy space, you could put in some, like, some little wildflowers or shrubs or something, or even just rocks and boulders, to kind of, like, fill in the corners. So that way it's not, like, a foreground element, because I'd consider, like, maybe middle ground element, because, like, your focal part is the 2 characters and, like, the emotion they're showing, and then you have these kind of, like, secondary things, like their weapons, their bags, this little, like, tent covering they've set up. But yeah, so putting maybe in some, like, some vegetation, or even, like, if this is sand, maybe some, like, little sand dunes or something, or even, like, their footprints coming in. You could use that as, like, some elements to kind of, like, fill in the corners of your composition, but still kind of, like, bring the focus in towards your characters. So yeah, in nature scenes I use a lot of, like, vegetation, rocks, trees to kind of fill in my corners. I think for more, like, home settings, so I guess for this one, yeah, for this one, I think if you wanted to fill in the corners, so textures definitely will help once you're, like, coloring things in. So if you have, like, some wood paneling on the floor, that can kind of fill in your bits. I bet I could fisheye the vegetation and rocks a little, like they curl back. Ooh, that's a good idea. So then it, like, brings the focus in. I like that. Right, but you can use wood grain and, like, patterning of, like, the flooring. You could put in a carpet to kind of fill in the edges as well with, like, a pattern, or maybe multiple carpets and rugs. For a home setting like this, it can be hard to decide because it depends on the vibe you're going for, but, like, you could put paintings on the wall, you could put, like, wardrobes or little, like, maybe, like, a table with maybe, like, some flowers or books or something piled up, bookshelves. You could put, like, the edge of a curtain, like, implying there's another window at the edge here. if in the foreground you could put like maybe like a chair, like if there's some like I'm not sure what setting they're in. Is this like an inn or is it like their home? I was picturing this window at the end of a hallway. I totally forgot I could add depth that way. That's fair, that's fair. True, if it is at the end of a hallway, you could add in like you could cut the edge of the wall here and kind of like use the hallway as like a focal point, kind of pointing into your characters. If he's heading down the hallway toward her, there's stuff on the walls or a door to the other side. Yeah, totally. It's their home. Okay. Yeah, totally. You could. If it's like a hallway, you could show like the side of a door. You could show like the rug coming down the hallway towards her. If it's a hallway... Yeah, you'd have to think of like objects they'd have, because if this was like a room, like I'm picturing like a living room kind of thing, or like a great room, like I would put like maybe like you could see like the edge of an armchair in like the foreground to create some more depth. But if it's a hallway, I mean, you could have like maybe some little like side tables with maybe like flowers on them or something, I'm not sure. Or like, what do people put in hallways? Things for storage. I don't know. Like a barrel or a crate. Decorations like a vase. I'm not sure. You'd have to decide what works for them. But yeah, but I think that could add some depth and add some like detail to the edges of things. Okay, so then looking at the drawing. Is really sweet. Again, I love the character interaction, and they're very well integrated into the background and like the planes they're standing on. I love her little tucked in feet. You are drawing the cutest little feet. The tucked in little feet, such a sleep. Yeah, but there's this great sense of motion that comes from like the blanket that he's like sweeping over her shoulders. I like the way he's like standing on his front foot, the other one's lifting to show like the movement of going forward. True, double feet tucks. Today's the day of feet tuckies. Yeah, there's some really nice motion going on here that really brings you to where she is. And I like how she's framed by like the curtains and the lattice work. I also think when you color this, like if the candle is lit, I mean, there's a few ways you could do it. If the candle's lit, I think you can really use that to like highlight these two and have the light really like casting on them. And you could even have like a little reflection of them in the window if it's like dark out. Or the candle could be out because she's been like sitting here. And then the light could be coming in. It could either be coming in from the window, or you could have some nice kind of like night moody lighting and maybe some like warm glow coming from further in the house. I think there's a few ways you could do it. But I'm definitely getting like some gold lighting mixed with some like purpley blues for like the night setting. I gotta move the candle to the side or something because it's gonna set the curtain on fire. Okay, you're not wrong. It might. Yeah, maybe move it closer into the middle. Just a little singe mark. Yeah, because it could either be lit from the front, like from the window, or you could have some little lighting coming from the back. Some like glowy lighting. You could also put some like candles on the walls. That's another like, and they don't even have to be lit. But if they're using candles for lighting, you would have little like candelabras on the wall for if you needed them. Or that could be a lighting choice. That's up to you. What else? What else? Yeah, it's just really cozy. I like it a lot. I think you did a really great job with this. Sconces. Yes, that's the word. We love a sconce. Yeah, I just think it's nice. I just think it's neat. Did you have any other questions for this one? We love a sconce. Exactly. A home is not a home without a sconce. I also love the little leaf designs on the curtain holders. That's really cute. No questions? Awesome. All right, and then this one that had the color shifts. So yeah, like I said, I feel you on the purple. Purples can be so vibrant on RGB, but not in CMYK. So the blue that you're using is gorgeous. I really like it. I especially love like the coloring that you have on like her dress, where like it just, you've created, I think it's the use of some like kind of soft gradienting while also like really highlighting like the shapes of her, like her legs and her body and stuff. It's just really gorgeous. I think it's, you get the same effect here on his like chest and like the side of his face where like the light's hitting, but it's nice and subtle, but it really shows like the shapes of the characters. It's really gorgeous. And yeah, this blue is just nice. It's so like vibrant and like it's just a luscious blue. Yeah, the colors are very cohesive. I like the use of like the browns for like the hair and clothing, some of her scales. And then the blue and gold as well. It's just very balanced. There's lots of nice like echoes of all the colors throughout. The goal for the year is to color in digital paint real good. Hell yeah, you got this. It's so good. I just like how you have these nice little like, these like, I don't know how to describe them other than luscious. You have these like luscious little highlights across like the different parts. And then this like really subtle kind of gradienting painting that goes out from there. That's just like, mwah, chef kiss. It's very nice. But yeah, great balance of colors. The movement is really, really nice, where you get like the flow of the Minotaur like stepping forward from like the cape, as well as like his leg steppies. And I really like how it creates this like kind of circle arch around our lizardy girl. And I love how you can tell she's just twirling because of like her, the flow of like the skirt, her tail wrapping around. And I like how her pose really brings you back in to look at the Minotaur as well. It's just a nice composition. It's got a good little circle going through it. Lots of lovely movement. I would say my only concern with the color, I'm worried the blue, and not the blue of her tail, I think that's bright enough. But I'm worried some of the, like, I think it's just because of the shadow that's on, like, the bodice and arms of the dress, as well as, like, the skirt. Especially because the skirt is kind of, like, see-through. I'm worried it'll be too dark along with the purple background. you might want to up the contrast a bit. Like, you might want to make the blues a little bit brighter, a little bit lighter maybe. Just so that they stand out against the purple. And I think it's only an issue with the dress and the skirt. I think the blue of like her feet and her tail are contrasted enough. And then the contrast on the Minotaur is great. Just, I mean, he has a lot of like oranges and yellows, which really stand out against the purple. My only concern is like the shading on the blues here might blend in a little bit depending on the printing. And it's hard to tell because sometimes you'll go and get it printed and it turns out really dark. Like our Books of Avo comic, when we printed it, the ink was a lot darker than we expected. So we're going to have to brighten up the next time we print it. But yeah, it looks really good. I'm glad the twirl and movement is clear. Hell yeah. I think you did a great job with the posing and the movement. They're really cute. I like them. I ship it. Putting them in a little box because I ship it. Was there any other questions? Let me quickly read your comments so that I don't forget anything. Thank you. I'll brighten that blue. I was worried about the contrast, but I didn't know what to do. Yeah, I think brightening it just a smidge, I think will help. I know, because you don't want to go too light with things, because then it might wash it out. But yeah, but I think you got it. No problem. Thank you for submitting. And that is it for today. That's all we got. Dang. Thank you everyone who submitted your work. I know it can be nerve-wracking to get your stuff critiqued. But thank you, thank you. So that's it for me. If you are watching this and you would like your work critiqued by me or by Bones, who does all the videos on here, he's our writer / colorist, sign up for our critiques, our critique streams. We do these at the end of every month. You can sign up to our Patreon, or you can become a YouTube channel member, and you will get access to the little secret side of our Discord and learn all the submission guidelines and stuff. But you can submit illustrations, character designs, setting designs, comic pages, sketches, thumbnails, fully colored pages, comic scripts, short stories, parts of novels, outlines for your stories we can look at. But yeah, sign up and learn all the guidelines, and we'd love to have you join. And if you're looking for something a bit more personal and in depth, we do also offer on our Patreon one-on-one coaching / critiquing. That's usually like about an hour-long session. And you can sign up for that on Patreon if you would like that with either myself or Bones. Thank you all for joining. I'll be back. I guess we'll be back on Monday for our next stream. Goodbye!